Hey, what's up, Shadowverse? Worlds Beyond? So I wanted to make this video just kind of talking out loud about how I felt about the game and why I've taken a break from this game. Right now, this is the first time I've logged into Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, and I'm going to say well over a month. As a matter of fact, to be more specific, the day that Seven Nights 2 released on Global was the day that I stopped playing Shadowverse. Now, it had nothing to do specifically with the launch of Seven Nights 2, it just happened to work out that way. As a matter of fact, there was actually a different game I was considering dropping, but that ended up not being the case. So we're not going to go into all that because that's not what this video is about. So why have I not been playing? Am I going to come back to this game? Where are we at right now? So my thoughts is when Shadowverse Worlds Beyond first dropped, I was looking forward to it. I can't really say that I was super hyped just because obviously there was a major delay in the game's launch. So, eventually as you're having to wait and wait and wait, the hype kind of dies down a little bit. It did rise a little bit right before, like maybe a month before when we finally got information. But ultimately, the hype was not nearly as exciting as it originally was. So that could be part of it, just the fact that maybe I did get burned from the delay in the release of the game. And I do think that the timing of this game's release had a lot to do with why I don't play it very often, because had it released when it was supposed to, which would have been summer of 2024, I would have played this game a lot more, because there wasn't really a lot of games that came out last year for mobile that I had any interest in playing. I'm not even sure if there was a new release last year that I even started. Maybe there was one, but I don't remember. Maybe Girls Frontline 2 might have been the only game, but that's probably it, which wouldn't have, took up too much of my time to begin with. But the thing with 2025 is that I've had quite a few games that have released this year that I've been hype about, that I constantly play to this day. For example, Seven Nights 2. That dropped, sometime after Shadowverse dropped, and I've been playing that a lot. Etheria Restart also released this year, and I've been playing that a lot as well. So I'm gonna say that the Shadowverse just released at a bad time, when there were other gacha games that, were really strong, that I really, really enjoyed, coming out almost at the same time, that I just didn't want to really devote too much of my time into too many games. And this had to be the game to go. On top of that, my experience with Shadowverse Worlds Beyond has been kind of iffy. Like, I enjoy the game in general. I've always been a fan of Shadowverse for a very long time. And the card game itself, I think, is good. I think they did make the game better, with how they balanced the evolution system, where you know how super evolves and stuff like that. I think those changes are nice. Visually, the game looks pretty good. I haven't really done a lot of the story, so I don't really have any comments in terms of the story, but at least we have English voice acting, which is always a good thing, for those who don't want to, listen to other languages. But I think one of the things that bothered me was the idea of not being able to vial any cards you want so that you can quickly build decks. Because we have those limitations where you have to wait until you have 3 of a certain card before you can vial, slowed my progression hard. Because in the original Shadowverse, I only played about 3 or 4 classes at a time, so all the other classes I just vialed the cards and I was able to build decks within a week. And I could make videos with different matchups with a full and complete deck. The problem with Worlds Beyond is, since I no longer have the ability to do that, it takes me almost a month to build one deck. So there's almost no content I can make because I just can't get a deck built for a long time. And by the time I do get a deck built, a new set's already coming out, right? And then on top of that, I like to play multiple classes, but I'm only able to play one class at a time because, you know, I have to try to build that one deck, and that deck is the deck that I use to get more resources to build other decks, right? So it's just a very slow grind because of the whole not being able to valve whatever you want. That I think just killed my pacing. It's held me back from making content of legit matches, because if I do release a video, I'm releasing a video on a deck that's only half built, which doesn't really mean anything, right? So yeah, it's been hard as far as content. It's been hard as far as just being able to enjoy building multiple decks, unless you spend a ton of money, which I'm not going to do. Uh, it just wasn't worth it, even though I did spend money on like the battle pass, but that's what I do with most of the gacha games that I play or card games that I play, so that's not a big deal. But the fact that I would have to spend extra on top of that so that I can, you know, build a deck in a week or two is just nonsense, and I'm not willing to do that. You know, like if I was financially better, maybe I wouldn't care, but since I am kind of on a budget, like I can't just be doing all that. So having to only be able to play one deck for a long period of time and not being able to go back and forth and really like enjoy decks has hindered my fun. Like I'm just not enjoying it nearly as much as I once did. So I think because of that, and the fact that just so many other good games have come out recently, that I've realized, you know, this just might not be worth my time right now. Now, does that mean I'm never going to play Worlds Beyond again? I don't know, to be perfectly honest. You know, I know we've had some collabs and stuff that have come out, and some more, you know, card sets that have come out, so I'm sure things are more interesting, but it's still going to be a slow grind either way, and I'm at the point where I just don't think this game is worth my time right now. But other than that gripe, I mean, overall, I still think the game is decent. Like, I don't really have any issues with the game. Visually, the game is cool. The soundtrack is okay, even though I do prefer the original soundtrack. And same with the story. Like, I did really like the story of the original. What I played of the story in this game was fine, but nothing really as interesting as the original. So maybe I just have to play, you know, more story must need to come out before I get hooked. But it's just not hooking me like the original game did, you know. And like I said, the biggest issue really is the vial situation. Like, that hurt. Like, I know a lot of people were complaining about other things that, you know, seemed gritty, like, you know, the cost of certain things. None of the other stuff bothered me. The vial situation was the only thing that actually bothered me. Everything else is whatever to me. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. So for like the 5 people who watch my Shadowverse content, this is why you haven't seen any videos from me in a while. Is just because I'm just not playing the game right now, you know. And I don't even know if I'm going to come back or not. I have no idea. Like, I just downloaded the new update now, since a long time ago. And again, I haven't logged in a long time, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to keep this game or if I'm going to uninstall it. But we'll see eventually. But I wanted to just put out my thoughts there, just to, you know, kind of just have it on paper, if you will, and post it just to see, you know, maybe somebody else has a similar feeling, and maybe they had to quit for one reason or another, you know, just so you know you're not alone. You know what I mean? Like I said, for me, it's just been a slow grind, and it's just not fun. And that's just what it boils down to. Oh, and by the way, my comment of only getting like 5 people watching, that's not a big deal. That's not a reason why I wouldn't make a video. I'm a very small creator, low budget creator, so if I get 5 people to watch, that's fine. Like, I actually don't mind. That was more just a joke and a stab at myself. But either way, for those of you who decided to listen to me rant this whole time, I do appreciate you taking the time to do this. There are so many other things you could have done, like watch another video or play a game or something. So thank you for listening. If I ever do decide to come back to the game, I might make a follow-up video explaining, you know, okay, I'm back, this is what's going to happen kind of a thing, but don't hold your breath. Am I going to make a mobile review on this game? Probably not, because I haven't played this game long enough to come up with what I think would be a legitimate review. As I said in some of my other videos regarding reviews, is I like to play a game for at least 6 months before I review it, and this game hasn't been out that long at all, and it's not worth giving it a full review yet. So that video may never come, and I'm sorry if that's an inconvenience to anyone that's actually interested in my review videos. Just to give you kind of, if I was to just give it a spot rating right now between 1 and 10, just like a random score, kind of incomplete, I would honestly say this game is like a 7 out of 10 overall. It's not, to me, I'm not enjoying this as much as I enjoyed original Shadowverse. In multiple assets, music, story, the ability to build decks, being like free to play friendly, like that first Shadowverse had a lot going for itself. This game is lacking a lot of that. It's no longer free to play friendly for sure. The story is just okay. The music is decent, but not as good. I'm not going to go over the numbers for each category like I normally would. This is just a rough review. But yeah, overall, I think the game is decent. But to be honest, I think the original game was better overall. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Later.